In the dead of night inside occupied Crimea, Russian troops rushed to evacuate valuable weapons and ammunition from a major storage site. They believed they could outrun the growing threat of Ukrainian drones. Columns of trucks loaded with missiles, artillery shells, and spare parts began moving towards safer locations. But Ukrainian FPV drones were already watching. Within minutes, swarms of kamikaze drones descended on the desperate convoy. Explosions lit up the Crimean sky as secondary detonations turned the evacuation into a blazing inferno. What Russia hoped would be a successful salvage operation became another humiliating disaster. Welcome to Military Force. In this detailed 18-minute breakdown, we uncover exactly how Ukrainian forces turned Russia's attempt to save its weapons in occupied Crimea into a devastating loss. From the intelligence preparation to the dramatic strike and its strategic consequences, this is the full story. Hit that like button right now and subscribe for more hard-hitting frontline analysis. Ukraine's operation against this Russian evacuation effort was not spontaneous. It was the result of careful, ongoing surveillance and rapid adaptation by Ukraine's unmanned systems forces and military intelligence units operating in the southern theater. For weeks, Ukrainian reconnaissance had been closely monitoring Russian activity in occupied Crimea, especially around weapons depots and storage facilities that had come under increasing pressure from previous drone and missile strikes. Russian commanders, realizing that fixed storage sites were becoming vulnerable, ordered a large-scale effort to disperse and relocate valuable weapons, including Iskander missiles, S-300/400 components, artillery ammunition, and tank spare parts. They hoped that moving everything under cover of darkness with heavy electronic warfare escorts would keep the cargo safe. Ukraine saw this as the perfect moment to strike. The preparation was professional and multi-layered. Long-endurance reconnaissance drones maintained persistent overwatch on key depots and likely evacuation routes across the peninsula. Intelligence teams analyzed Russian patterns, timing of movements, convoy composition, escort routines, and the locations of mobile air defense and jamming systems. Engineers rapidly adjusted FPV drone configurations for this specific scenario, equipping them with powerful shape-charged warheads optimized for ammunition trucks, improved thermal cameras for night operations, fiber optic guidance to defeat heavy jamming, and AI-assisted target recognition to quickly identify high-value loads even in smoke or darkness. Drone operators received targeted training for dynamic, moving target engagements. They practiced in simulators replicating Crimean terrain and night conditions, learning to coordinate swarms, scout drones fixing the convoy while attack groups struck from multiple angles to maximize chaos. Special emphasis was placed on timing, hitting the convoy when it was most exposed, away from fixed defenses but before it could reach safer dispersed locations. Strict operational security ensured Russian forces remained unaware of the focused surveillance on their evacuation plans. Deception operations helped set the trap. Ukraine conducted smaller strikes on other parts of the peninsula and the land corridor to keep Russian attention divided. This encouraged the Russians to proceed with the large-scale weapon relocation, believing the immediate area was relatively quiet. Forward drone launch teams quietly positioned themselves at optimal strike distances inside or near occupied territory. After careful monitoring, Ukrainian command confirmed the movement of a major evacuation convoy, dozens of heavily loaded trucks and specialized transporters carrying critical weapons away from a threatened depot in occupied Crimea. The order was given. The execution was swift and ruthless. High-altitude reconnaissance UAVs tracked the convoy from the moment it left the storage site, streaming live thermal footage to the command center. Operators watched as Russian forces hurried to load and move the weapons under tight deadlines. As the convoy moved along a key road with limited cover, the strike began. Scout drones first locked onto the lead and central sections, identifying trucks carrying the most sensitive and explosive cargo. Then, waves of Ukrainian FPV kamikaze drones launched in coordinated attacks. The first strikes hit the front vehicles, creating instant roadblocks and trapping the rest of the column. Follow-up swarms poured in from different directions, slamming into ammunition trucks and missile transporters. Massive secondary explosions ripped through the convoy as shells and rockets cooked off, sending fireballs hundreds of meters into the air and lighting up the Crimean night. Russian escorts desperately activated electronic warfare and returned fire, but the speed and volume of the FPV swarm overwhelmed their defenses. Thick smoke and flying debris reduced visibility, causing panic and collisions among the remaining vehicles. Some crews attempted to abandon trucks and seek cover, but loitering munitions continued to hunt survivors and any rescue teams rushing to the scene. The entire engagement turned a carefully planned Russian evacuation into a catastrophic loss. Post-strike drones remained overhead to document the destruction and assess remaining threats, confirming dozens of vehicles destroyed along with irreplaceable weapons and ammunition. Ukrainian sources reported significant degradation of Russian capabilities in the sector. The immediate aftermath was painful for Russian forces in occupied Crimea. Losing large quantities of weapons during an evacuation meant critical shortages for air defenses, artillery units, and ground forces across the peninsula. Units that were supposed to receive these supplies now faced delays and rationing. The psychological impact was severe. Russian soldiers and logisticians now understand that even attempts to save equipment from drone threats can lead to total destruction. This event perfectly illustrates Ukraine's strategy of sustained pressure on Crimea. By targeting not just static depots but also Russian efforts to adapt and relocate assets, Ukraine is making it extremely difficult for Moscow to maintain a functional military presence on the peninsula. The land corridor and internal Crimean routes are turning into constant kill zones, forcing Russia to operate under permanent stress. Every destroyed convoy or evacuation effort slows Russian operations and forces them to divert more resources to rear area protection instead of frontline combat. This operation also highlights the growing professionalism of Ukraine's unmanned systems branch. From battlefield FPV strikes to deep operations inside occupied territory, Ukrainian forces have turned drones into a decisive tool for logistics disruption and attrition warfare. Domestic production scaling into the millions ensures they can sustain this tempo. For the Russian occupation forces in Crimea, the situation is becoming increasingly untenable. Attempts to save weapons are met with even greater losses, eroding morale and operational confidence. Moscow's fortress Crimea is slowly being hollowed out from within through relentless drone pressure. As the fires burned on that Crimean road and recovery teams worked under continued threat, the broader message was unmistakable. Ukraine is not waiting passively. They are actively hunting Russian efforts to sustain their occupation, turning every Russian move into an opportunity for destruction. If you want more in-depth analysis of Ukraine's drone tactics, strikes inside occupied Crimea, and the evolving situation in the south, smash the like button, share this video, and subscribe to Military Force. Turn on notifications so you never miss the latest frontline updates. Thanks for watching this full 18-minute breakdown. Stay informed, stay strong, and we'll see you in the next mission analysis.